Alright guys, so I'm going to do this offensive scheme a bit different for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to explain the setups to each play that I use in the Audibles portion of the video. I'm not going to go into a game in practice mode and show you what the setups look like, how they beat everything, all of that stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, I'm going to tell you the setups in this video, the Audibles and setups, and I'll explain how everything works together. And then afterwards, I will go and I'm going to play a couple games and I'll show you how the scheme comes together in a game. That way you can put them all together instead of watching 2 hours worth of setup videos. You can see how I actually incorporate each play and each setup into the overall scheme. If this doesn't work, I will redo and I will go over everything in practice mode or in a game, something along those lines. But I did want to try this out. I think this will be more beneficial to you guys. I think it will, assuming you watch the video and you pay attention to it, you'll be able to actually scheme everything together better than you would with me doing 2 hours worth of individual plays. So I'm going to start with the main portion of the scheme. That is going to be the bunch scheme. That's pistol bunch, single back bunch, and shotgun bunch halfback strong. So we're going to come out in pistol bunch. The reason we do that is because we can audible down to single back really quickly. So you go from pistol bunch to single back bunch really quick, and the audibles are going to be slightly different than what you see on screen. So these are going to be the audibles of how we run pistol bunch. So we're going to have corner strike, halfback dive, Seattle, and PA boot slide. So PA boot slide is a phenomenal play, and we actually have that out of pistol bunch and single back bunch. But more on that here in just a second. So corner strike, we have the ability to flood zones and beat man coverage with that play. That is our base play that we come out in. And what we're going to do is we're going to motion the corner out to the outside. We do that because we're going to be using the same concept as we used in halfback wheel from the New Orleans scheme. We're going to be pretty much hitting the sidelines, essentially acting kind of like a speed out. We're going to be forcing our opponent to really worry about that route. Now that corner route is going to beat man coverage. It's going to beat all zones outside of a cover 2. You also, with that play, have the ability to run the quick pass to the flats on the left, because all zones are going to actually drop back with that C route. Then obviously you have the C route to beat man coverage as well. The setup to that play, corner strike, is we're simply going to fade A, which is the slot receiver, and then we're going to motion out B. So that's the play right there. That's the setup. You're going to fade A, motion out B. Now, if they are in man coverage, say a man press, you do not want to let the corner route set. You want to motion him out a few steps, hike it while he's still in motion. What he's going to do is he's going to delay, cut up, and then break out, and he'll be open every single time against a two-man under type look. Like a two-man under press look, I should say. So that is our base play. You have the halfback dive, a solid run, nothing spectacular, but a decent run. Seattle. We use this concept in every bunch we have. Well, not really. We have single back and pistol that we use this concept out of. You want to drag the tight end, which is the RB receiver on Xbox, and you want to in-route the running back. So what you're doing is you're creating a cross between the tight end and the running back, both of which should get open against any man coverage. You also have the crossing route by A, which beats man coverage as well. And then what we do with Seattle is a little bit tricky. We can motion slant the outside B receiver if we see off coverage. If we see man press, we simply motion him out and let him and hike the ball as he sets. because he's going to cut up field and burn a two-man under or something like that if they play around with the safeties. Then obviously you have the PA boot slide. On this one, all we do is we will fade X and we will hike the ball. If they are in man press, you have 3 different levels of crossing routes to beat man coverage, and the tight end that's on that little route that runs behind the line of scrimmage, he will be open 99% of the time versus everything. The only way to really stop that route is to take somebody on the opposite side of the field and man him up. That's not what you really want to do, but that's the only way to truly stop that. So that is the pistol bunch. We audible to the single back bunch, as I mentioned, and the plays we use here is going to be Z-spot, Seattle, and PA boot slide. You have the halfback slash as the running play. Z-spot, simply you want to fade B. You have the corner flat fade combo on the right. Just a simple zone beater. You have Seattle, which we're going to do the same thing. We're going to drag the tight end, and then we're going to either motion slant B or motion him on the outside, depending on what we see. Once again, motion slant beats everything. If they're man press and they're playing with the safeties by putting them in flats or purples, something like that, or if they're simply biting down, you just want to motion him out and set as he hikes, and that is the B receiver. PA boot slide, as I mentioned, is phenomenally glitchy, and on this play, I like to fade the A receiver. What that does is if they are in a man coverage look and say they bite down with the safety, A is going to be open for a touchdown. Or what will happen is if they're in a cover 3, you'll have the B receiver for a huge gain. Same thing with cover 4. So that is the single back and pistol bunch. Now we have shotgun bunch halfback strong. Now this formation is phenomenal and really puts the scheme together because you have 2 really glitchy passing plays in wide trail and PA wide receiver in. Wide trail, you can absolutely cook any man coverage play and also flood any zone depending on what you do with the B receiver. So if I see zone or if I think it's a zone, I fade B. That's going to give you the corner flat streak combo or fade combo. And then you have a post and a trail concept going on with the tight end and the outside left receiver. If I see man coverage, I re-drag the B receiver, and then I just hike the ball. And then at that point, you'll have the corner route, the drag, the trail, the post by the outside left guy, and then the running back, all of which should beat man coverage due to the alignment. You have, in any zone play, you will be able to bomb them deep by simply streaking the tight end on PA wide receiver in. That's going to bomb cover 2, it's going to bomb cover 3, and it's going to bomb cover 4. If they are in something glitchy like a cover 6, it should bomb that as well, just depending on if they flip it or not. So PA wide receiver in gives you the ability to quickly audible and quick hike a bomb play. A lot of people will play bomb plays, but in order to play something, you got to actually expect it. And when you're running this whole scheme, your user, you have to really play at the line of scrimmage. Whether it's the vertical, if we're constantly hitting drags or trail routes, you're playing really close to the line of scrimmage. And with that play in particular, you have to play deep. If you don't play deep, you're getting bombed. It's as simple as that. And then since we have the ability to torch man with relative ease, it's going to force our opponent into a lot of zones. We have the ability to torch zones as well, but a lot of people are going to play zone coverage, which will allow us to start hitting them with slip screens. You'll see in this scheme I do have a couple slip screens in there, and that is just to, if I see somebody running a lot of blitzes, like a cover 2 blitz or the Mike Scrape blitzes, trying to get real adjusty, I hit them with those screens just to keep them honest. the halfback counter. Now, this is not a run that's going to be a guaranteed, 4 or 5 yards, but it is a home run threat. That counter, if you have the numbers advantage on the right-hand side, this counter can be a crib shot at any time. So if you're seeing like the Mike Scrapes, something where they're shifting their linebackers to the left, or if they're not base aligning and you just have the numbers, or if they are base aligning, excuse me, and you have the numbers advantage on the right, that counter is a very tough run to stop. So moving along, that is the bunch portion of the scheme, and I'm actually going to break that down in a video since it's a bit hard to actually see because I talk about motions and different little adjustments. So I'm going to do the bunch scheme in a different video so you guys can see. But as I said, we are moving right along. My main plays that I audible to out of this scheme, I audible from bunch to bunch, obviously, but in shotgun double flex, I love the play flanker dig. If your opponent is in man coverage, that X receiver, you have that wheel post concept on the left, so that X receiver should be open at all times against a man press. The setup to that play is to simply drag A, and then you have a drag, in route, post route, wheel, flat, all on the same play. So you pretty much, somebody's open, you just have to hit them on that play. Once again, it is a very quick setup. Everything that we're doing out of this is very quick, which allows us to quick hike our opponent. And it's simply too much to really deal with. Because as I mentioned already, your opponent, in theory, to stop what we're doing, has to play at the line of scrimmage, and it's not feasible to play at the line of scrimmage and deep all at the same time. So, moving along though, the quick base, decent run. Once again, not a huge run. I do like mixing in quick bases, and the reason behind that is because a lot of people are using the concept where they're standing behind the D tackle and trying to shoot in. Quick bases can really gash those type of defenses. We also use, later on in the scheme, we use inside zone splits. That run does the same thing, except inside zone splits will actually pop the nickel 3-3-5 two-man under blitz as well. So we have an answer for everything in this scheme. So moving along with the double flex formation, you have 4 verticals. 4 verticals is a play that, once again, is a quick hike. We don't make any adjustments to this at all. If we catch our opponent in any zone, we're able to really abuse the seams, the A and the Y receiver. And then if they're in any man coverage, say they confuse us, they're in man, or they start manning people up, that running back route's going to beat man at all times. So pretty much you have a 3-person option on 4 verts. You have Y, A, and the running back. And it's a very simple concept, but since we're spreading the defense out, it's a very easy read, and it's very difficult to defend from zone coverage. So the PA comebacks play is not something I use very frequently. The setup that I do use with that is I fade X, I motion slant B. So pretty much I'm creating a just 3 crossing routes with a play action play. Once again, not something I use very frequently. Probably use it maybe once a game. So moving along, you have shotgun normal. Pretty much this formation allows me to hit my opponent with an inside zone, one of the better inside zones, and it also allows me to flood zone to both sides of the field. So strong flood, obviously you have the flat corner street combo on the right. What I do on that play is I put Y on a in route, just to give me a quick pass option if I see a blitz. Also with this play I like to roll out to the right, and it allows me 2 options coming across the field. Then FL spot is I like to fade X and I like to fade B. So with this play, it's 2 steps, but you fade X, you look for the Y receiver. That corner route on Y is actually really long. and it works to our benefit because if your opponent is simply putting flats out there and maybe playing over the top, the flats don't drop back deep enough to guard that corner route. So that corner route's open versus pretty much every zone, unless they put a purple zone out there. Um, then you also have a regular corner flat streak combo on the right side of the field that allows you to, hit the standard corner route versus a cover 3 or cover 4. PA dagger, I don't really run. Every once in a while, I will call that play and I will slant Y, and it just gives me 3 crossing routes. You have the drag, slant, and in route with the play action. Once again, not something I run heavy, but play actions are good to mix in simply to keep your opponents honest with the A-gap blitzes. So up next we have normal deep offset weak. Now this is the formation I use the inside zone split out of. As I mentioned, that run kills the nickel 3-3-5 two-man under blitz. And you have 3 solid passing plays. Once again, you have 4 verticals. Now on that 4 verticals, I like to slant the tight end. You could leave him on his route if you want the streak, but it doesn't get open all the time versus zones, so I tend to just put him on a slant and force my opponent to guard the slant running back combo. And then if they are in a cover 3, we can bomb them to Y every once in a while. So then you have the strike halfback seam. That play gives you 2 C routes, both of which kill man coverage. And then the running back's route is really glitchy. He cuts right up the field, similar to how fades used to work. So you can simply throw a bullet pass to the outside and pick up some nice gains to him every once in a while if they don't respect him. Outside of that, you have the PA Niner Y cross. This is a pretty solid play. I actually got this play from the Gamers Lab. Gamers Lab put that out. And all you do is you slant Y. And what'll happen is you simply cancel the play action by hitting the right trigger. And what happens is if they are in man coverage, they will swap assignments. The linebacker guarding the tight end will actually switch to the running back, and they just get all confused. And what happens is they leave that tight end wide open for no real apparent reason. When I throw that guy, I tend to throw it high and to the inside. So like typically it's high into the, I guess it'd be outside. It's high into the right, because I don't want the linebacker that will then be on the left to have it play on the ball. The slant will also get open every single time. Once again, don't really know why that is, but he gets open versus any man coverage. And then the running back, he'll get open as well in a lot of situations. So you have a nice 3 routes that will beat man coverage. You can also flood zones with the slant crossing route and flat by the running back. Another thing that's good about that play is a play action. We do like to have play action plays to mix in simply to keep our opponents honest. There's a lot of blitzes that simply don't come in versus play action. If you hit your opponent with play action enough, they tend to get out of those blitzes. So now we're going into probably my second favorite formation in the entire scheme, and that is going to be the tray open. Tray open gives you my second favorite play, which is post hitch post. With this play, all you want to do is slant the RB receiver. It's the guy in the slot. And you're going to pretty much have a levels concept with crossing routes. The running back on his little glitchy out route is open all the time versus any man or zone. You also have the slant coming across, which will be open versus any man coverage, as well as the post. So what we do on that play is we tend to try to roll out slightly to the left, and we'll essentially be able to pick and choose which guy, because they can't guard all 3, the slant, post, and running back. The outside guy on the right, that guy's essentially just a decoy. He never really gets open, unless you have like an Antonio Brown type, a guy with really high route running. If you do have that, he will get open as well. But for the most part, most teams don't have that type of receiver. So I tend to ignore that route unless I do have a guy with high route running. 4 verticals, you guys know how to run. I mix in it just stock as well as me dragging the RB receiver. And the reason we really like this 4 verticals and this post hitch combo is the running back. The running back on post hitch goes to the outside. 4 verticals, he cuts to the inside. So somebody that's trying to manually play that or set up adjustments to stop that is really going to have a hard time guarding that guy. And then you have Y corner. So Y corner is actually pretty unique, and I say it's unique for 2 reasons. The running back's route is a quick pass versus any zone. You just hike throw to him. You can pick that up. It's a nice little 4 or 5 yard gain. You can also do the flat fade combo with the corner on the right, which is going to give you the ability to hit that corner route versus every coverage in the game, essentially. And then, if you're really feeling froggy, you can take the running back, put him on a wheel route, and motion him to the left. When you do that, you then create the wheel glitchy post concept with the ability to flood the zones on the right side of the field. So that pretty much gives you the ultimate 5-wide play. Once again, not something you're going to run heavy throughout the course of the game, but it's definitely something to throw in. And the fact that you already have 2 really good passing plays in this formation, it's going to force your opponent's head to spin. You have the halfback base. Once again, base is solid. It's not amazing, but it is solid, and that's because it's very difficult to shoot that A-gap with the linebacker. Moving along, though, we have 2 trips tight end formations. We have the trio offset weak and the trips tight end offset. Now, trio offset weak is not something I run heavy. I typically try to simply mix in the inside zone with verticals and the slip screen if I see zone. If I see man, I like to go to middle slants, and I like to fade the X receiver and motion him all the way across the field to the right. What that'll do is you'll be able to bomb that fade that you motion across. You will also have a drag, post, corner that all get open versus man coverage. Verticals is a phenomenal little play to use because of the obvious ability to hit the Y guy deep. B will get open against man, and then you have the 2 out routes. The running back's out route torches man coverage, and the tight end's route will beat man coverage as well. And then you have the slip screen once again that will just kill zone coverage if we get your opponent adjusting. So then you have trips tight end. Now, the main weakness I would say to this scheme is cover 2. And for that reason, we use the play fake screen wheel, and we'll audible to it even if it's not open and we end up throwing our drag route. We audible to it every once in a while just to make our opponents go, well, shit, maybe I can't run cover 2 all game. The setup to that is you're going to curl the tight end, you're going to drag the X receiver. And if they are in a cover 2, both the Y receiver and the B receiver will be open deep for huge plays. If they are in anything else, I tend to either hit the curl with a pass lead down versus man, or I just simply dump it down to the drag. If they are in man coverage, the play tight end in will torch that. And all you do is you slant the X receiver, and then the running back will beat the linebacker deep. You also have a drag slant in route combo. And if you have a decent receiver at Y, the Y receiver, since he's on that inverted streak, he will actually be able to bomb a lot of 2-man unders and man coverages as well. Then you have PA shot crossers. This play is predominantly used to bomb cover 3 and cover 4. The way you set that up is you curl the tight end, the A receiver, you streak the B receiver, and then you drag X. what that'll do is the Y receiver will bomb cover 3 and cover 4. So with trips tight end offset, we use it to mix in the zone, the inside zone, and then we have 3 plays that are designed to beat all sorts of, man coverage, or all sorts of coverages. Tight end in bombs man, fake screen wheel will bomb 2-man under, and cover 2, assuming that you have a good receiver at B. And then PA shot crossers will bomb cover 3 and cover 4. So I go to that formation, like I said, periodically just to give the threat that, if I guess correctly, I'm scoring a touchdown. If I guess incorrectly, I have, the dump down options on the plays, but I use this predominantly to try to go deep. Up next, we have wing trips tight. So we have 2 unique plays with this. We have 619 sail and X ISO Poco. Then obviously we have the 4 verticals just for good measure, just to keep our opponent honest. 619 sail, you simply hike the ball. You have the flood concept on the right. You're going to look for that C route versus pretty much everything. If they are in any zone, the running back's route will sit down. He'll come out of the backfield, sit down, and you can just dump it off to him. And if they are in man coverage, the X receiver will get open as well. So that's one of those plays that I typically try to slide a bit to the right with the quarterback, force my opponent to try to guard the stuff on the right, and then hit the X receiver across the middle of the field. X ISO Poco, once again, is another unique play. Now, that play is pretty tough for 2 reasons. If your opponent's in man coverage, the Y receiver, or not the Y, excuse me, the RB receiver, he's on that glitchy fade that doesn't get bumped. So he'll be able to bomb his guy. And all I do on this play is I will either slant, drag, or fade the X receiver, depending on what I see. If I see it's like a zone coverage, I tend to put him on a fade because he gives me the ability to face catch, do the aggressive catch. If I see man coverage and I see off coverage, I will put him on a slant because he will then get open for the quick pass against any off coverage man. If I think it's a zone or something like a cover 4 or a 2-man under, I will simply 2-man under press. I'll simply drag him to give me 2 drags on the field. Now the A route by that tight end, he's going to beat man coverage once he cuts back upfield. And then the running back's route is open there for the quick pass against any zone. So you have routes on that play that are pretty unique. A lot of people don't expect it. And you can really pick up nice chunk yards on that play as well, once again, while also having the ability to always have the quick, easy, dump down read. 4 verts, obviously, 2 setups. You drag RB or you just hike the ball. Up next, you have shotgun wide trips halfback weak. So this play, we use this formation because you have the play wide receiver fades, and you also have FL dig and PA wide receiver in. So PA wide receiver in is the bomb play. Once again, you simply streak A, and that's it. That's all you got to do. Streak A, hike the ball. You can also leave it as is, and you have the drag in route post concept, which will beat man coverage. So it's a nice overall play, something that's good to mix in, especially considering it's a play action play. Then you have flanker dig, which you have the flat C route concept going to the left, which will allow us to simply hike throw against any zone to the left side. And it also complements the wide receiver fades perfectly. So wide receiver fades is going to absolutely torch cover 3 and cover 4 defenses or any off coverage man. The weakness is man press and cover 2. Well, wide receiver or the flanker dig with that C route on the left is going to dominate both of those. So wide receiver fade, all I do is I tend to refade the A receiver which is the tight end, if they are in any sort of man press, or if they're in any man defense, like a cover edge sting, like a blitz 6 type man defense, the fade route will beat his guy deep. In the play flanker dig, all I do is I slant the RB receiver to give myself a slant in route concept on the right to go along with the flat C route concept on the left. In this play, in this formation, I actually use the inside zone as my run. So I have, with a similar look, I have a halfback base and also I have a inside zone. So if they are trying to shoot the A gap against the inside zone, I will run the base. If they have no clue how to stop inside zone, I run inside zone. So once again, that formation's predominantly there for the wide receiver fades play, and then we have counters to wide receiver fade. So moving right along, though, we are now in single back dice slot. So single back dice slot has 3 really good plays. They got a lot more than that, honestly, but the 3 plays I use are going to be deep attack, fade smash, and PA draw shot. All of you guys by now know how to run PA draw shot. That play is simply going to be held to defend against a cover 2 and 2-man under look. You also have the fade smash play. So backtracking just a little bit. So PA draw shot, you can simply drag the tight end, and that will PA draw shot, you drag the tight end, and it gives you 4 routes that beat man coverage. You kill 2-man under deep with the X receiver. You'll bomb a cover 2 with the X receiver, and then obviously you have the checkdowns with the drag and B. Fade smash, there's 2 setups to fade smash. So if you see zone coverage, you just leave it as is, and what'll happen is nobody will be able to guard that X receiver. It's a nice little pickup of 8, 9, 10 yards versus any zone. The fade that goes out there pulls every zone back deep. So you'll be able to simply hike, throw to X, and pick up, like I said, 8 to 10 yards with the potential for more, assuming you could break a tackle. Against man coverage, you would want to drag the X receiver, and then you have 2 routes which would then get open versus man. You would have the drag from X, and then that post route by A, for whatever reason, absolutely murders man coverage. If you have a good receiver, I keep mentioning Antonio Brown, but anybody with high route running, the B receiver will get open as well. It's just something that you got to read. He's not always open like the A receiver, for instance, is, but he does get open depending on his route running on the outside right. The Y guy is simply there as a decoy. I don't really ever throw to him. I have seen people throw to that guy for 2-point conversions or in the red zone. I'm not 100% sure how to do that. If I find out, I will let you guys know. Deep attack. All you want to do on deep attack is simply drag or slant the tight end. You're creating another crossing concept with the tight end and slot receiver. And what you do on that play, what I like to do is I like to roll to the right against zone, because the post route from the right or from the left to the right will get open versus all zones. You can, like I said, slant or drag the tight end depending on what you want to do with him. I tend to drag more times than I slant, but slants do work as well. The running back route, the little delay route, that is something you can leave if you want, or you can simply block him. Up next, we have single back wide trips. There we go. So now this formation is something I run very seldomly, but it does have some nice little plays in it. The plays that we use are going to be the PA vertical shot, the PA boot smash, and the PA slot cross. The running play I use is actually halfback smash. So PA vertical shot, I leave this play as is, and I pretty much, the way that I run it is if I see my opponent getting really aggressive, say they're in a cover 3 or a cover 4, they're playing on the safety. I like this play because I like to audible down to it really quick and simply hike. A lot of people will assume it as a run and bite down. If they do that, that gives you the ability to hit Y up the seams or A on the cross. Once again, one of those plays that you use seldomly, but it's there to keep your opponent honest. You got PA boot smash. On this play, all I do is I drag the tight end and I hike the ball. Now, the corner route gets open every once in a while. The primary reads on this is going to be the drag to the tight end and then the X receiver on his PA end around type crossing route. The B receiver, he will sit down in the flats against all zones. Anything that's not a cover 2 will not guard him. However, he doesn't pick up a huge chunk of yards, so he's pretty much there for that 3, 4, 5 yard gain. Once again, he's there more so for a nuisance to the defense than he is anything else. As I mentioned, that corner route gets open every once in a while. It's not 100% consistent. Something to definitely look at if you see man coverage, though. The other thing you could do is you could fade the B receiver and you could still drag the tight end. And that way you have that deep corner fade concept on the right, which will allow you to throw that against any sort of zone, a cover 3, cover 4, cover 2. That corner route goes deep enough to where it won't guard any of that. Or none of those will guard that, I should say. Now, PA slot cross is a pretty good play for 2 reasons. A, it gives us the ability to bomb cover 4. And then it's also very good against zone. Now, this setup is a bit different. Every once in a while, I will mix this in with the PA vertical shot as well. And that's what I do is I take the tight end and I move him over to the left. So when they play PA vertical shot, that gives you the crossing route going to the left. It's essentially a corner route. It's good because people don't expect it. Now, we use that little motion with that play to set up the ability to bomb cover 3 and cover 4 at a PA slot cross. And what we do with that is we block the running back, we streak the tight end, the A receiver, and we motion the tight end to the left. That's going to give us the ability to hit X deep. So, and that he'll be open deep against cover 3 and cover 4, and then you have the 2 crossing routes that beat man coverage. So that is it for the 3 receiver portion of the scheme. And as I mentioned, we will show you these in game and how everything flows together. So the other scheme that we use is every once in a while when we're trying to slow the clock down, we're trying to, slow the game, we go to the 2 running back, 2 receiver formations. The formation we really like is pistol strong because we can essentially create makeshift screens to all areas of the field. The halfback off tackle is a good running play out of this set. Assuming you have a fast guy that you've put on that running back spot, you can get huge gains on this halfback off tackle. And just to put the whole scheme together, we have the PA corner halfback slip, which all you do is you flat route the running back to the left, and now you have the makeshift screen going to the left with a corner flat fade combo as well. The B receiver on that gets open a lot of the times, but it's one of those things you have to read. X post. Now, that play is solid. We like it for 2 reasons. We have a makeshift screen going to the left, to the right, and all we do is we flat the fullback to the right side of the field. The reason this works is because any zone is going to drop back with that B receiver. It works similar to how it does with C routes. For whatever reason, they drop all the way back, and it allows us to get a really nice makeshift screen going to the right. And it also complements PA flood very well based on the tight end's route. So on this play, he's simply running an in route. and it's going to be open for a nice little quick pass for a few yards, 3, 4, 5 yards. But it sets up PA flood, and we do the same thing with PA flood. We take the running back, the Y receiver technically, and we flat him to the right. That gives you the makeshift screen to the right, and it also gives you the corner flat post to the right. That X receiver will also beat man coverage, and he will find his way into a zone if you tend to, slide to the right a little bit. So that sets up really good passing plays for the I-form twins. Now, I-form twins has the play post wheel, which we all know will kill two-man under and cover two. And I use the play fullback flare to give myself the makeshift screen going to the right, in addition to having the corner route by the tight end. So if your opponent's in a cover two and say, they're manning up the X receiver, this is another play with the post route being on B that's really going to give your opponent a headache, because now we still have the post, but we're moving where it's at. So that post by B gets open a lot versus cover 2 as well as cover 3. Now, the corner route will obviously beat man coverage. The post route and the in route will beat man coverage. And any zone, we simply have the running back going to the flat. So we will take Y and we'll flat him to the right. This gives us the makeshift screen to the right. Now the play post wheel. You could do the same thing with that play. You could take the fullback and you can flat him to the right to give you a little makeshift screen going that direction. The only downside to this formation is the fact that we don't have a fullback dive. We have the toss, which is obviously very glitchy, but we don't have a fullback dive. So what we use to kind of complement is the halfback dive. Halfback dive does a good job of picking up, the 2, 3, 4 yards right up the middle. Next up is I-Form Pro. I-Form Pro, pretty much I use two plays, once again, that being the X post and the PA Power O. What I'll do with that is I take the running back, whichever one's not already on the flat, and I put him on the flat. It gives you the same kind of concept with the makeshift screens, except just another formation. The running play out of this set, you can really pick and choose which one you want. I don't have a personal preference. I went with the halfback lead because I believe it's the standard one. You could go toss if you want. You could also go inside zone. Power O's not too bad either. Mid attack is there if you want to simply hike throw to the fullback. The other option that you can do is you can take the running back on X post and you can put him on a wheel and motion him to the left. That's going to give you the same concept as you get out of the post wheel play here. So once again, same play, different look essentially. Moving right along, we have the full house base. Now this is a unique formation because we have three plays that give us kind of the pistol ace type look. We have the wing power O, which is a very good run. We also have the wing halfback dive, and then the wing PA cross. This play is good because that A crossing route tends to always get open, as well as the post by the B receiver. You can do whatever you want with Y. I tend to leave him on his delay route because he doesn't ever really block. He tends to just go straight to the flats, and a lot of the times the guy guarding him will rush in. So then leaves you Niners post wheel. This is essentially just another makeshift screen with 3 man beaters. You'll just simply flat route the A receiver, which is the running back, to the right. Then you'll use the auto motion. You'll have the 2 posts, the drag, and then the screen to the right. Moving along, we have the shotgun normal. I use the play F trail. It is the only play that I really use out of this set. You do have other passing plays like the PA pound draw pass, which I put in there. decent, nothing great. PA post as well. Once again, nothing really phenomenal about those plays. I like them because the tight ends route, all the routes are going to the left, whereas the trail concept has the tight end going to the right. Weak Eye Pro is stuck in there because I simply can't take it out. I never run that formation. Up next, we have the 2 tight end, 2 receiver sets. Now, twin tight end flex. This is actually a scheme that I'll go to just to see how my opponent reacts to it. You have 3 formations that you can really use, that being the twin tight end flex, the big close, and then the single back big. We typically come out in twin tight end flex, and that's because we have an answer for everything. We can quick hike tight end spot by simply taking the RB receiver, the tight end, and putting him on a fade. This allows us to roll out to the right. It gives us the corner flat combo. It works a lot like the PA end around concept last year. If you don't want to quick hike it, I also like to simply in route the B receiver as well. However, I tend to quick hike this play more so than I don't. The running play, completely up to you. You have dives, you have tosses, you have a stretch, you have the 0-1 trap even. So pretty much whatever you choose. I don't really run the ball, honestly, when I'm in this set. Then you have the PA boot left. It was very similar to what we do at a bunch. It's a very good concept because the guy crossing over creates that flat corner street combo. So pretty much you just hike the ball there. And the only weakness to these would be cover 2, and we counter cover 2 with the play PAFL dive. The B receiver will simply torch a 2-man under and cover 2 look because he's unbumpable and he just fits nicely in that zone. On that play, I tend to leave it as is, or I will fade the, I will drag the RB tight end. Just to give myself another little short crossing route if they drop back deep with the user. Then we have big close. I've broken this down way earlier in the year when I did Buffalo. You have the tight slots, tight end angle. You have the blunt dive, the slot bench, and then the slot PA counter. One thing I really use a lot when I do this is I will simply drag the tight ends on the tight slots bench. They both tend to get open versus everything, and it's a nice way to pick up 4 or 5 yards pretty much throughout the course of the game whenever you want to. Tight end slots, tight end angle does a good job at beating man coverage. None of these plays do a great job of killing zone deep. So pretty much it's take what's given to you with those. It's another formation to run randomly throughout the course of a game. But single back big up next is a play I go to a lot, or formation. Now, single back big is unique in the fact that it gives you the toss. Most single back bigs do not have a toss play in there, so the fact that you do have a toss allows you to really dominate your opponent with outside runs. So you also have the zone weak, which is a good run because defenses like the nickel 3-3-5, they do not shoot the gap on this run. So you're able to pick up, a consistent 3-4 yards pretty much at will. And it can go to both sides without your opponent knowing. Now, inside cross is set up for you automatically. All you do is you simply hike the ball, and you're good. If you want to bomb cover 4, you can streak Y and curl route the tight end A. Outside of that, that'll bomb cover 4 deep to X. And then if they're in like a cover 2 or a cover 3, you can also audible to PA all go and look to hit the tight ends in the seam. So, like I said, decent scheme, nothing that's going to, break the bank, so to speak. but it's nice to mix in and use every once in a while. And finally, you have this 2 running back, 2 tight end scheme that I just recently started using, and the reason I use it, as I'm setting the audibles for you here, is you have some pretty solid plays out of this strong eye formation, strong eye twin tight end. You have the toss and then that glitchy fullback dive. You also have crossing routes going to the left, the flood concept going to the right, and you can set up the makeshift screens out of this as well. So like in PA slide, you would flat route the running back, the Y running back to the left. PA spot, the running back goes to the right. Weak eye twin tight end has the another fullback dive, which is tough, but that's pretty much it. This PA tight end slide looks pretty tough. I just don't really know how to use it. I haven't figured that out yet, so when I figure that out, I will let you know. And then you have the I-form ones. You have the I-form twin tight end and I-form tight. So I-form tight, you have the fullback dive, you have angle, you have the toss and halfback blast. So the audibles I would use in this case would be toss, blast, fullback dive, and then I would use the play PA tight end corner. So pretty much those would be my audibles there. I would simply, on PA tight end corner, I would take the running back Y and flat him to the right. That way you have makeshift screen, you have a corner that beats man, you have a post that beats man. I-form twin tight end. Now this is a rather unique formation, and let me explain why. So if you baseline against an I-form twin tight end look, your outside corner doesn't go all the way to the outside. He stays right outside the hip of the tight end. So you could run this toss, and it's really difficult to stop. It's something that Late showed me a few days ago, and something that I've been kind of thinking about incorporating into my scheme. Not something that's truly dominant in the sense that you can run it every down, but when you mix everything in with the fullback dive, it's really a pain. Passing plays, I would go with the PA power O and goal line fade. So you would have the PA power O, you're flooding the right side of the field. You have X coming back across. You also have the makeshift screen. So the setup would be to fade or streak B, flat route wide to the right. And then you have goal line fade, which you can do whatever you want with. What I would do would be to take the running back, the fullback, flat him to the right. But the main read is, if your opponent's in a cover 4 type defense, is to simply hike throw it to X. And that's it. So that's the scheme in a nutshell. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'm going to get some gameplay clips. That way you can see how everything looks. This pistol formation, finally, just to look at it, this full house tight end, you can audible to this from the twin tight end looks, which is pretty nice. When running this Niners counter lead is actually pretty solid. So you could run a combination of the dive and the counter lead. And then you also have a few different passing plays that are pretty tough. You would have this Niners cross. Now this, when you run this, people are going to know you're running it. But it is a solid play because you're able to flood zones with it. But the main play I would use would be this PA tight end corner. And in this case, all I would do would be to hike the ball. That B, the tight end B, will get open versus everything, whether it be a cover 2, cover 4, or man coverage. The way that he cuts out, then up, then back out, he's always going to be open. So what I would do is I would probably put Y on a delay route, and then just that gives myself 2 playmaker options in the backfield, so I could playmaker them up and around and pretty much, find somebody open if they manually guard that. So that's the final formation that I will be breaking down out of this, and I hope you guys enjoyed, like I said.